How's it going, guys? It is your boy Grave, and today we'll be talking about Kamen Rider Revice episode 18. Before we get back into it, I would like to let you guys know that I am going back to streaming on twitch.tv/grave_paladin. So come on by, we should have a good time. I can't wait to see you there. Now, as always, let's get started. Now, the episode starts off right where the last one ends, with Ikki attacking Olteka, but this time Ikki stops in his tracks and he starts to burn because of the volcano stamp. I'm guessing him and Vice weren't really in sync, and he undoes his transformation, making Vice disappear. Olteka walks away very unamused, while Daiji and everyone else comes to help Ikki, with Giulio just walking away defeated. Ikki then dreams about all of the other Phase 3 deadmans that he failed to save before he wakes up in the hospital with his family and Vice surrounding him. Ikki apologizes because he lost control when Olteka said he couldn't save anyone, and really he really couldn't that time, because he couldn't save anyone from being turned to a Giftarian. This makes Sakura think about her wanting to save Giulio, which prompts her to leave and actually run into him. But he doesn't want to fight. He actually asks Sakura to look after Aguilera if he dies fighting Olteka. Like, that's some good character development. Well, not really character development. It just shows that Giulio really cares about Aguilera. Like, more than just being a sacrifice. Or the head of the Deadmans, even. Like, he actually cares for, like, actual family. But anyway, Sakura agrees to help Giulio out as long as Giulio agrees to talk to Yosuke. George himself visits Ikki, apologizing for suggesting to use the volcano stamp, and explains that what Giftarians are. They're demons born from the Gifu stamp that would basically kill anyone who is stamped. Really, if you think about it, if you can't save them since they're already dead, then killing their demon would be like the best act of mercy, so yeah, you can't really do much after that. But George also explains that the Revice driver was designed to separate people from their deadmans. So basically separating people from their Phase 2. And that Phase 3 is basically beyond his understanding. He warns Ikki that the stamp might save a Phase 3 deadman, but failing to control it might kill him. Unless, he stops trying to save people. Which, obviously, Ikki refuses. Giulio then meets up with Yosuke, with Sakura behind, leaving the two to talk. Yosuke apologizes for everything that's happened, for tearing his card, for basically betraying him, giving him the card that he tore up back. With some convincing, Giulio forgives him, as he notices that Yosuke is being held hostage by Olteka, and stamps him with the Gifu stamp, effectively killing him and turning him to a Giftarian. Olteka jokingly threatens that he'll make Aguilera into a Giftarian next, before Giulio punches the demon and transforms into a powered up version of his Phase 3. Which I want to assume, I want to call it Phase 4, but I think he's just powered up. But anyway, he attacks Olteka, and when he does, he just takes out a good chunk of his body before it regrows. He's super fast. Olteka, scared shitless, runs away, and Giulio causes a big ass explosion. Back in the hospital, Ikki and Vice talk about refusing to stop saving people. Ikki explains to Vice that somewhere along the way, Ikki stopped caring about himself and he devoted himself to saving other people. That's what basically drives him. And that he apologizes to Vice because of him wanting to just save people, he put Vice in dangerous situations. Vice being Vice kind of laughs this off, which annoys Ikki, asking him what's so funny, but Vice kind of tells Ikki that he's lying when he says he doesn't care for himself, and that you have to care for me, right? And explains that, we used to be one. this is on some Persona type shit. And Vice also wanted to refuse to stop saving people as well as Ikki. Ikki apologized to Vice, with Vice like saying, "You apologizing yourself, you weirdo," and having a good moment before hearing Julio's explosion. Ikki tells Vice that he's gonna go and asks Vice for help, but when Vice says that he might eat Ikki jokingly, Ikki tells Vice that, you'll never betray me, and stamps himself, and both of them walk out of the hospital into like George's lab, taking the stamp with him. Sakura is fighting Julio, but is hesitant to use a finisher on him. Instead, she responds by talking to him. But, that doesn't work, and he still tries to beat her down. Daiji shows up not knowing anything and begins fighting Julio, as Olteka, being, the cunt he is, watches from afar, saying that the fight is a rather pathetic sight. Like, Olteka, you look scared shitless when Julio transformed into his powered up form and almost like took half of you with him. Like, you saying it's pathetic? You almost died. I wouldn't talk if I were you, man. But anyway, Julio knocks down Sakura and Daiji and screams for Olteka as Ikki and Vice show up, and they both transform into Volcano and Barad Rex respectfully, and they fight Julio. Like, oh, the fight's actually pretty badass. Ikki and Vice are like going at it like in a good like combination, going at one-on-one, not one-on-one, two-on-one, but they fight like they were just like partners for years. It was like really cool how we see like Vice using Ikki's fire and vice versa. But anyway, the fight ends with their their rider kick. And they end up separating Julio from his demon. So yeah, they can now save Phase 3 Deadmans. But anyway, Ikki untransforms from exhaustion, with Sakura and Daiji coming in and help him. After Julio's defeated, Olteka runs up from behind and is about to attack him. But then Aguilera comes from above and saves him and comforts him on the loss of his friend. And dude, I feel for Julio like that. Like, dude, you lost someone who you actually cared about. Like, that's deep, man. Like, damn. But anyway, she comforts him and takes off with him. And back in the Phoenix base, I'm assuming the energy from the gift text is being charged up into the Gifu statue, with the director staring, looking as villainous as possible, saying that fortune is a fickle friend. He just looks like he's like expecting something. He has to be in on this somehow. And in the medical bay of the Phoenix base, Haruka is being checked on, with the doctor telling him that his use of the demon's driver is making his like internal organs register as like 80 years old. So it's obviously killing him. And then he's ordered not to transform from now on. The episode ends with Ikki, Vice, Daiji, and Sakura walking along the road, with Vice carrying Ikki on his back or dropping him, wanting to switch places. Like, oh, this was such a good episode. This was such good character development for Vice. Like, Vice is becoming one of my top favorite characters in this season. Like, you see him becoming more and more like human. For a demon, he's becoming more human, more than anyone else in this series. I don't know, this dynamic between Ikki and Vice, I can't help but like stay like hooked. I know when something good like this happens, something bad is gonna come following after. But anyway, guys, this was episode 18. I enjoyed it. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, comment down below. What did you guys think of the episode? Any likes, comments, critiques, shares, all that is greatly appreciated. And as always, guys, I will see you next week for episode 19. Peace out.